in the higher education in the world, especially at a time when we are looking at drumming our global impact. University as it is what we are built for, and we've lived on that for quite some time. A round of applause to the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. I would want to specially invite some dignitaries to join the Vice Chancellor and her team upstage. Before I do the official introduction, let's please acknowledge Mrs. Matilda Marful, Executive Director, Clean Africa. Please join us upstage. Mrs. Matilda Marful, the Executive Director of Clean Africa. So you sit on the extreme left of the Vice Chancellor. Thank you. Shall we also welcome upstage Dr. William Bannerman, CEO and founder of Intelligence Nature International. Dr. William Bannerman. From the University of Burundi, shall we please also welcome Professor Alois Misago. So we now seem to have a full set upstage, so we can run through the program. To welcome us specially and really take us through why we've gathered here officially, shall we please welcome the head of KNUST's Quality Assurance and Planning Unit, Professor Jerry John Ponyo. A round of applause.
Good morning. We want to be grateful to God for an occasion like this and making it possible for all of us to gather to deliberate on the Sustainable Development Goals, the role of academia. Over the years, we've had one summer school after another. But this particular summer school is unique in many respects. It has taken an international dimension, and in a very special way, we want to welcome all our colleagues from far and near. The role that I've been called to do is something that is so big, and with reference to going about it, I don't have the feet actually to step into the shoes of the one who has been specially prepared as far as the welcome address of this particular event is concerned. I have come to prepare the way with reference to giving the welcome address for this particular summer school. And so in a very special way, I want to introduce the Vice Chancellor of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in the person of Professor Mrs. Rita Akosia-Dixon. Shall we welcome her?
Thank you very much, Head of Quality Assurance and Planning Unit. Good morning once again. I hope that you all slept well, especially our visitors, and you have started enjoying our lovely campus already. Pro Vice Chancellor, registrar, finance officer, provost of colleges, executive director, Clean Africa, deans and directors, heads of department, staff of KNUST and affiliate institutions, all our foreign partners and friends, cherished sponsors and stakeholders, our friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great and absolute delight that I add my voice in welcoming all of you to the 9th Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Summer School. The journey leading to this day has not been an easy one because of the uncertainties of the era in which we find ourselves. I have always said that in these new normal times, the only thing that we are very certain about is the uncertainties of life. It is a huge sign of relief, therefore, that we finally are here to begin the 9th summer school, which has been delayed for a year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. As a consequence of the delay, this year's school has nicely and beautifully coincided with the 70th anniversary of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, which may be seen as a blessing in disguise. It is for this reason that this summer school is being organized under the theme Sustainable Development Goals and Universities, Actions Towards KNUST's Mandate at 70 and Beyond. The coincision of the celebration of these two events helps to achieve a couple of things. First, the acknowledgement of the fact that at 70 years, there is the absolute need to reflect on our role as the leading science and technology university in Ghana and to exert our global brand and reach. Secondly, in exerting our brand beyond the shores of the continent of Africa, the importance of situating our mission and core values in achieving the important agenda set by agencies such as the United Nations should be very clear to both staff and students. This does not only ensure global competitiveness, but sets an agenda to impact society and communities through education, research, and innovation. Pro-Vice Chancellor, Provost, Deans and Directors, Heads of Departments, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for close to a decade now, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has been organizing summer schools as part of its continuous professional development for members of staff. The aim has been to provide opportunity to learn new skills and upgrade staff on current trends in higher education that would enhance their performance at the workplace. Up until 2018, the summer school was an annual event. Thereafter, it was changed to a biennial event to afford more time for planning, implementation, and effective outcomes. The new ways of doing things brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic has not spared the summer school. Indeed, as a result, this year's summer school is different from the previous ones, in that it is the first to be decentralized to the various colleges and units of the university, and has colleagues participating through the virtual space. It is also unique in the sense that, for the very first time, the university is partnering with other organizations, including one of our key international collaborators, Clean Africa, to bring this event to fruition. To our friends and partners who have traveled from far and near to support us in this regard, I wish you a pleasant stay on our beautiful and green campus. Do please find time to enjoy our organic scenery, and please, please, do take a bit of Ghana with you back home. Colleagues, the theme for the 9th KNUST Summer School, SDGs and Universities, Actions Towards KNUST's Mandate at 70 and Beyond, could not have come at a better time. 70 years ago, the KNUST was birthed as the Kumasi College of Technology with a mandate to train professionals with the capacity to respond to the needs of society. Adopted in 2015 by 193 countries, including Ghana, Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development provides a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet, now and also into the future. With 17 goals and 169 targets, it sets the broad framework for eradicating poverty and inadvertent hunger, protecting our planet, and ensuring prosperity for our people. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals represent an urgent call for action by all countries in both the global north and south to establish constructive partnerships for achieving growth and prosperity for our communities and for the preservation of our dear planet. They recognize that in ending poverty and other deprivations, all that must go hand in hand with strategies that improve health and education, reduce inequality, and spur economic growth while tackling climate change and working to preserve our oceans and forests. Consequently, the world is depending on universities to achieve these goals as spelled out in Agenda 2030, and we cannot and must not fail in this regard. There has been a lot of talk about the SDGs, but for us to better the lot of the masses, we in academia and all stakeholders must work closely together and take steps towards first understanding our role as institutions of higher learning in the attainment of these goals. Secondly, we must provide the cutting-edge science, groundbreaking research, and state-of-the-art innovations that is captured in goals 4 and 9 to drive the actualization of these goals. Additionally, strong universities like the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology are part of civil society, goal 16, and are excellent drivers of global and local partnerships, goal number 17. By directly contributing to these 4 goals, universities facilitate the attainment of the other SDGs as well. Through the performance of our core mandate of research, teaching, and community service, universities develop the training of students with rigorous scientific mindset and the spirit of curiosity. This leads to entrepreneurship drive through co-creation of intellectual property and patents, working closely with both private and public sectors of our economy. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, through the partnerships of government, industry, and academia, the influence of universities is felt and positively exerted for the development of our societies. There is the need, therefore, for universities to show and lead the way in this endeavor. What is instructive, ladies and gentlemen, is that as academic institutions, all the programs we run and our research must be situated within the context of the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. This summer school offers all participating institutions within Africa and beyond an opportunity to do an introspection on how we have performed in relation to our contribution towards the attainment of the SDGs. At the end of the school, we must send a clear message on the practical actions taken and what needs to be improved to achieve the SDGs in its entirety. It is clear that the mandate imposed on us is a collective responsibility which requires an all-hands-on-deck approach. The development of curricula, research, teaching, community service must all be driven within this context. Our expectation is that at the end of the summer school, the organizing committee will present to management a clear practical focus on how we at KNUST can achieve these SDGs, working closely with other institutions of higher learning, besides what we have already done. We would like to see these recommendations in both sustainable management strategies and practices to spearhead teaching and learning opportunities for both students and faculty. Our expectation is a whole institution approach to achieving these SDGs. I am very hopeful and positive that we are going to have a very engaging summer school, which will provide clear directions on actions we must continue to take towards the attainment of each of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. This is definitely not a time to be complacent, ladies and gentlemen. I therefore urge all of us to be honest and sincere in our submissions, providing useful alternatives leading to working solutions for the attainment of the SDGs. Indeed, as a university, the fulcrum around which all that we do revolves is to improve the quality of life of the people that we serve, which is enshrined in the ultimate objectives of the SDGs. We must therefore continue to blaze the trail as we perpetually remain committed to our watchword of taking the gown to town, in ensuring that the outcomes of all the research we carry out as research-intensive institutions is impacting the lives of societies and communities. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, let me say that the critical role of universities as one of the key stakeholders of development over the years cannot be overemphasized. Indeed, the universities have access to high-caliber human resource and the mandate to create and disseminate knowledge, innovative solutions, and train thousands of students who are potential decision makers and influencers of society. By all means, universities occupy a unique position to lead and enhance the social, economic, and environmental sustainable transformative agenda that is enshrined in the SDGs. Let me gently remind all of us that we are only 9 years away from 2030. And this summer school must be seen, ladies and gentlemen, as a clarion call to action by all. As we see strong collaboration between the global North and South towards the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. Let us do all that we all can do to make this a reality for the globe. Before I take my seat, let me, on behalf of management, thank the Planning Committee, chaired by Professor Nathaniel Bwedi, for the hard work in putting together this excellent and challenging piece. We are indeed very grateful for the partnership and sponsorship from Clean Africa. We are grateful for the presence of all our friends from Germany and from other parts of the continent. We are also grateful to all our resource persons. I encourage all colleagues to make time to fully participate in the activities of the summer school. Ladies and gentlemen, with these introductory remarks, once again, I welcome you all to the 9th Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Summer School, and I have the singular honor to declare it duly open. Thank you very much.
And Another round of applause for our Vice Chancellor. Thank you very much. For the benefit of those who came in not long ago, I'll quickly again introduce those we have on the days. Right here is the head of our Quality Assurance and Planning Unit, Professor Jerry John Ponyo. A big welcome, Prof. Thank you very much for coming. Next to him is the Pro-Vice Chancellor of this great university. Please applaud Professor Ellis Owusu Dabo. And then our Vice Chancellor, who we are extremely grateful to, just left the podium. She's very visible. You can easily identify her. Thank you very much for coming, Vice Chancellor. Next to her is the Executive Director, Clean Africa. That is Mrs. Matilda Marfo. The Chief Executive Officer and Founder, Intelligence Nature International, is Dr. William Bannerman. Thank you. Our Catholic Chaplain, Reverend Father Dr. Anthony Na, is here with us. Protestant Chaplain, Reverend Dr. J.W. Echampon. Thank you for joining us on the days. And you know the main reason why they are behind. They provide the spiritual support to those who are performing their activities. And then from the University of Burundi, please welcome Professor Alois Misago. We are being told this morning that it is a great opportunity we have to build our capacities once more, and would want to show it as well. So in each of the folders we were given, please open it once again. You see SDG for units branded lanyards, white. Replace your KNUST lanyards with this. Over the period of the summer school, that is today to the 3rd of September. So if you come wearing any kind of lanyard apart from this one, you've breached the protocols. Let's take note of this. One musician who is flown our flag very high up, very great ambassador of the university and Ghana as a whole, is with us. For our musical interlude, please welcome Eja Konimo.
Reverence for dialogue as a means of settling differences and sharing insights. Spontaneity and the joy of living, expressed in poetic language, song, and dance. All these aspects manifest a culture with an all-encompassing spiritual dimension. This is what makes the African culture unique. And this is what binds the many people of Africa together, without hampering in the least that immense richness of local expression or the heritage of single groups. Ladies and gentlemen, Suminyame C.K. Man. Suminyame, 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 oh, Thank you.
A global ambassador of our university, and of course, a very great ambassador it is. This man is a visiting professor to some of the great universities across the globe, and he keeps telling us professionally. Let's please applaud Eja Konimo once again. All right, this morning, we are just about zooming into various addresses, but that will be handled by the main moderator for this program. She is the main moderator simply because there is an unwritten rule now. We, the men, clear the way for the women to perform the action, just like head of Kwapu came to clear the way for Vice Chancellor. Please welcome my co-moderator. In fact, I have come to support a head of counseling unit, Mrs. Victoria de Graft Ejay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, James. Yes, we will all agree that for such an important occasion and program like the summer school, we need to have distinguished personalities who will share their thoughts about the theme for the program. And so we have lined up some personalities, and for the first to address us, we have in our midst Mrs. Matilda Marfor, the Executive Director of Clean Africa. Let's welcome her with a clap.
Professor Rita Akusia-Dixon, Vice Chancellor of KNUST, University Management, invited dignitaries, all protocols observed. Good morning. It is said that the value of an idea lies in using it. What started as an idea is clear today that that's the reason why we are gathered. Matilda Frida Maful are my names. I am the Executive Director for Clean Africa FAO. Clean Africa is a non-profit organization founded by students in 2004. With its headquarters in Stuttgart, the organization focuses on promoting sustainable development in the Global South while sharing our experiences and principles to bring about a paradigm shift in the Global North. The activities of the organization are multidimensional, transdisciplinary, innovative, creative, and knowledge-based. For over a decade now, the organization has worked with students and academia from various cultural backgrounds in collaboration with other actors to bring about change, not only in the Global South, but also in the Global North, through sensitization and awareness and education. Our programs have received global participation with over 6,000 members. The impact of our events have grown steadily with projects like landscape communities for neighborhoods, agriculture, tourism, and food security strategies for sub-Saharan Africa, parliaments without barriers, brain gain, conflict-sensitive development and planning, integrated mobile environmental awareness programs for young people and secondary school students, Makulubita Integrated Basic School Improvement Project, a school built for children of abused mothers to attain education after wars. And of course, the ongoing sustainable development goals for universities. The summer school on SDGs, dubbed SDGs and Universities, Action Towards KNUST's Mandate at 70 and Beyond. This happens to be the first of a series of collaborations to take place between KNUST and Clean Africa FAO after signing the MOU that was facilitated by the International Programs Office under the leadership of Professor Rexford Asasi Opong. Our focus remains fostering a deep global South and North dialogue between Clean Africa and KNUST as experts in the transfer of SDG-informed strategies to civil society, industry, and beyond. This summer school presents a unique whole institutional approach where we will not only have the academicians, the professors, exchanging on how to separate the garbage, and comes the garbage collector and mixing it up together. We all need to be informed. We all need to be aware. We all need to be sensitized. The SDGs is for each and every one of us. We are thankful to the state of Baden-Württemberg into believing our cause and supporting us financially to make this happen. We are joined by participants and scholars from the University of Burundi in the eastern part of Africa, the University of Namibia, the University of Zambia in the southern part of Africa, the University of Cameroon in the central part of Africa, and of course Nigeria, and the universities from Germany, the University of Frankfurt, Applied Sciences, and other educational institutions in Germany that are as well company-based. We are joined by people who are engaged into sustainable development, and of course, many other partners from universities in Ghana. Network, network, network. Networking is a key factor to the SDGs, and I hope that there will be this possibility with whoever you meet today, whether it's from a different department, whether it's from different part of the country, different part of the world, please take the opportunity to network. It is the hope of the organization that this collaboration would transfer and translate into research activities and tangible projects as part of the quest towards global sustainability and the global SDG agenda, that is the Agenda 2030. This is because each and every one of us count. Each and every action counts. My action, your action, our actions, they each count to the contribution and realization of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. We are excited just to partner with KNUST. Not only that, with each and every one of you in the organization of this year's summer school. And I'll take it personally to thank the organization and welcome each and every one of you to interact, think, share, develop our own strategies to imbibe the SDGs holistically into our operations. Thank you.
Let's give it up to Mrs. Matilda Mafo. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And what she said that incites me is network, network, and network is very important. Make sure that you talk to someone you've never talked to today before you leave, because that starts networking. We'll now invite the Basic School Band to give us a short music. Thank you, Basic School. Let's clap for them. Thank you for always supporting us and giving us good music. We'll now invite our next guest in the person of Dr. William Bannerman, the CEO and founder of Intelligence Nature International, to talk to us about what the SDGs are and how the world is responding to them. Doc, you're welcome.
Professor, Vice Chancellor, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Provost, distinguished senior members and academics of this university, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Ejako Nimo. I would first like to pay tribute to the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology for organizing such an impressive ceremony for our planet, for our world, and for generations unborn. Thank you. According to the Christian faith, and in the book of Genesis, we read that the Lord God took man and put him in the Garden of Eden to tend and keep it. Perhaps man became so comfortable, or rather, preoccupied himself with so many problems that he forgot that great commission, that development goal. Ages and centuries later, man is now compelled to take stock of his own impacts and assess whether he has kept the garden. Unfortunately, the clock is kicking and ticking very fast. The planet is warming up. Floods and droughts are pacing at high speeds. Pollution is so pervasive that water, which was free and abundant, is now for sale. As if that is not enough, even the air we breathe is now on retail. If you have to breathe clean air, you need to buy one of these. Man, the proud center of the universe, is busy destroying himself in many vicious cycles. The imperative to conserve and respect and even love other things outside of ourselves is a timeless wisdom. Ancient Greek philosophy emphasized a deep respect for the intrinsic value of nature, and Plato, in around 300 to 400 BC, told us to respect the environment. Even anthropocentric environmental ethics could sometimes be viewed as safeguarding the needs of both human beings and nature. In the middle of the 20th century, when we saw our planet from space for the first time, Historians may eventually find that this vision had a greater impact on thought than did the Copernican revolution of the 16th century, which upset the human self-image by revealing that the Earth is not the center of the universe. From space, it was seen as small and fragile ball dominated not by human activity and edifice, but by patterns of clouds, oceans, greenery, and soils. Anais argued in 2002 that a leading responsibility of mankind today is the responsibility for future generations, that we hand down a planet with resources as great as we found in our own generations. But we also have a responsibility for future living creatures in general, as well as the interests of other non-rational creations in their own right, remains at the core of contemporary environmental ethics. Perhaps from this non-anthropocentric perspective was born the definition of sustainable development. Though humanity has achieved incredible progress in development, we have taken the earth for granted, destabilizing the very systems upon which we rely for survival. COVID-19, which almost certainly sprang to humans from animals, offers a glimpse of our future, in which the strain on our planet mirrors the strain facing societies. It took for COVID-19 very little time to expose and exploit overlapping inequalities, as well as weaknesses in social, economic, and political systems, and threaten reversals in human development. While the devastating effects of COVID has taken the world's attention, other layered crises from climate change to rising inequalities continue to take their toll. The challenges of planetary and societal imbalance are intertwined. They interact in a vicious circle, each making the other worse. There was a talk of returning to normal, as if some predetermined end date exists for the many crises gripping our societies and the planet, as if going back to normal is desirable or even possible. Whether we wish it or not, a new normal is here. COVID-19 is just the tip of the spear. Scientists generally believe that we are exiting the Holocene, which spanned some 12,000 years, during which human civilization as we know it came to be. They propose that we are now entering a new geologic epoch, the Anthropocene, in which humans are a dominant force shaping the future of the planet. Perhaps the best and most important single event that happened to us in the last century was the formation of the United Nations organization, which has integrated so well that it has lost its last name. In the mid-1980s, while the world was experiencing some of the worst tragedies like the African famines, including the hunger, locust, and bushfires in Ghana at the time, the liquid gas tank explosion in Mexico City, killing 1,000 people and leaving thousands more homeless, the leak at the pesticide factory in Bhopal, India, and the nuclear disaster of Chernobyl. The World Commission on Environment and Development was busy working to present their historic report, Our Common Future, to the UN General Assembly, seeking a mandate for change in the ways we live with ourselves and with the environment. Some 20 years later, on the 25th of September 2015, with a thunderous standing ovation, all 193 United Nations member states adopted Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development provides a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet, now and into the future. At the heart of the 2030 Agenda is its set of 17 Sustainable Development Goals, a universal set of interrelated and indivisible goals, targets, and indicators, about 169 indicators, balanced between the three pillars of sustainable development, being environment, social, and economic, that seek to address the global challenges we face. They recognize that ending poverty and other deprivations must go hand in hand with strategies that improve health and education, reduce inequality, and spur economic growth, all while tackling climate change and working to preserve our oceans and forests. The Sustainable Development Goals build on decades of work by countries and the UN, including the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs. In June 1992, at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, more than 178 countries adopted Agenda 21, a comprehensive plan of action to build a global partnership for sustainable development to improve human lives and protect the environment. Member states of the UN unanimously adopted the Millennium Declaration at the Millennium Summit in September 2000 at the UN headquarters in New York. The summit led to the elaboration of 8 Millennium Development Goals, the MDGs as they came to be called, to reduce extreme poverty by 2015. The Johannesburg Declaration on Sustainable Development and the Plan of Implementation adopted at the World Summit on Sustainable Development in Africa in 2002 reaffirmed the global community's commitments to poverty eradication and the environment, and built on Agenda 2021, Agenda 21 and the MDG and the Millennium Declaration by including more emphasis on multilateral partnerships. At the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development, Rio+20, in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, in June 2012, member states adopted the outcome document, The Future We Want, in which they decided, inter alia, to launch a process to develop a set of sustainable development goals to build upon the MDGs and to establish the UN high-level political forum on sustainable development. In 2013, the General Assembly set up a 30-member open working group to develop a proposal on the SDGs. And then, in 2015, the end of the MDGs became a landmark for multilateralism and international policy shaping, with the adoption of several major agreements, including the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, in September 2015, and the Paris Agreement on Climate Change, December 2015. These indicate the effort mankind is putting in to correct avoidable challenges, to put it in a modest way. How is the world responding? Today, the Division of Sustainable Development Goals is created in the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs and provides substantive support and capacity building for the SDGs and their related thematic issues. Nearly all countries are responding to the SDGs, but countries are at different levels of progress. In terms of performance, the general impression is that we are not doing well, to put it simple. The Sustainable Development Report, now generated annually, which describes countries' progress towards achieving the SDGs and indicates areas requiring faster progress, is a good reference to see how countries are performing. Countries are ranked by their overall score. The overall score measures a country's total progress towards achieving all 17 SDGs. The score can be interpreted as a percentage of SDG achievement. A score of 100 obviously will indicate that all SDGs have been achieved. In the last Sustainable Development Report, the top 3 countries were the Scandinavian countries, namely Finland, Sweden, Norway, followed by Germany. Ghana scored 62.49% to occupy the 114th position among over 193 countries, performing better than some other African countries, though. The UN also publishes the SDG dashboards, which provide a visual representation of each country's performance on the 17 goals. The traffic light color scheme illustrates how far a country is achieving a particular goal. According to the UN, for the first time since the adoption of the SDGs in 2015, the global average SDG index score for 2020 decreased from the previous year. It had been increasing even when extrapolated back to 2020, to 20,000. And in 2020, there was a decline, driven to a large extent by increased poverty rates and unemployment following the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, according to the UN. The report further reported that the decline in SDG performance globally is likely underestimated, with many indicators for 2020 not being available due to time lags in international statistics. In other words, it is estimated that if all the data came in at the right time, we could have performed worse. The report stated that the pandemic has impacted all 3 dimensions of sustainable development: economic, social, and environmental, and that there can be no sustainable development and economic recovery while the pandemic is raging. As the earlier speakers indicated, the responsibility to meet the Sustainable Development Goals does not rest only at the government level. It rests at organizational levels as well as at the individual levels. The private sector has not been left out. Progress in the private sector is gaining momentum. Perhaps we need more integration of SDG indicators into national regulatory requirements. Some regulatory agencies have taken the lead already in Ghana. The Bank of Ghana, for example, in December 2019, launched the Sustainable Banking Principles, requiring banks to fully report on their performance in environmental, social, and governance aspects by 2023. Banks have 4 years to fully report on these performance in accordance with international best practice. The green wind is blowing and will soon catch up with other sectors. Governments all over the world are increasingly required to generate high-quality sustainability data, and some of these data must come from organizations, including companies. Listed companies and investors are also on board. The good news is that companies recognize that contributing to the SDGs is not only a responsibility, but also business opportunities. When we tell companies to check leakages in their electrical or electricity systems, they find opportunities for cost savings. If they have to change from brown energy sources to green energy sources, in the long term, they find opportunities in cost gains. They are taking steps to integrate the goals into their core business through collaboration inside the business and across industries. The annual financial reports of companies, many companies very soon are mandatorily going to contain sustainability reports. I think it should be the converse. Financial reports must rather be part of an annual sustainability report, because finance is obviously a subset of sustainable development. Now, here in the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technologies, there is a lot of opportunities to support capacity building and training at the local government level and even to the public. Employees, executives, management staff in companies are looking for knowledge and capacity in this area of sustainability, and the university can help achieve that. The university obviously will have to define its own carbon footprint and perhaps begin to think about reporting to the public annually. Some of the best performers in the last few years in the SDGs are universities in Portugal. And so KNUST can do that, given the natural opportunities in terms of greenery you find yourselves in. The SDGs bring along lots of opportunities, and there is enough for all of us to take advantage to assure our future generations of a good, healthy, and sustainable planet. Thank you.
Let's give it up again for Dr. Bannerman. Thank you so much, Doc, for taking us down memory lane with respect to how humanity has responded or is responding to the SDGs. Before we switch to the presentations for today, we are going to have another address from the Minister of Education, Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, and it's going to be on what role is expected of us as universities by the government in achieving the SDGs. And this is going to be in video, so we have our technicians to roll it for us as we pay attention. Thank you.
The Pro-Vice Chancellor, the Registrar, the delegation from Germany, distinguished invited guests, staff of the university, staff of affiliated institutions, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Swami Municipality, Madam Vice Chancellor, the Pro-Vice Chancellor, the Registrar, the delegation from Germany, distinguished invited guests, staff of the university, staff of affiliated institutions, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Swami Municipality and on my own part, I would like to express our joy and gratitude for the opportunity to address the 9th Summer School of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. As you may be aware, I am an alumnus of this university, and to come back after almost 40 years is a great honor and privilege. I consider this a rare opportunity occasioned by the extraordinary partnership between Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, representing the academia, the Aurelia Finance Swami magazine, also representing the industry, and the Swami Municipal Assembly, representing local government. The Center for Capacity Development in Automobile and Manufacturing, SECADAM, is very crucial for the sustenance of livelihoods of our hard-working indigenous or established auto mechanics and manufacturers. Over the past few years, our famous Swami magazine has been lagging behind, largely improvising in the repair and maintenance of electronic vehicles. The original master artisans all learned their vocation when manual transmission was the order of the day. It is that knowledge that is yet being passed on from one person to the other. Automatic vehicles powered by electronics have taken center stage. And as we speak now, electric vehicles have begun to appear on the landscape of automobile industry. We cannot continue in the mode of analog at a time when digitization has permeated the radar. Indeed, the efforts of the mechanics has become unsustainable, requiring urgent intervention. Therefore, I find this partnership opportune. Translating theory into practice and creating synergies in a sustainable way is what our partnership seeks to achieve. It is imperative that this kind of collaboration is replicated across the length and breadth of this country to accelerate our developmental efforts, especially at this time when we are talking about 1D, 1F, one district, one factory. The machines to be imported into the system, most of them automated vehicles that require the attention of artisans who are up to scratch and who can attend to the machines with a degree of efficiency and effectiveness. The world is changing rapidly with advancements in technology. We need to combine our efforts if we want to catch up. We must stop operating in silos. Cooperation for communal benefit is the way to go. As the motto of the university says, Nyansapo Osanino Bajima. In other words, the knot of wisdom is untied using deep knowledge. Let us take heed, working together for Mother Ghana. I know many other groups and well-meaning individuals will join us, and also many others would replicate this example that we're beginning today. Akwaba to the German delegation, especially the Aurelia Fanettes of the Sekata. I hope to join you on the 2nd of September for the official inauguration of Sekata. My gratitude goes to Madam Vice Chancellor, the University Management, and the organizers of the 9th KNUST Summer School for this opportunity. I wish you all a very fruitful and successful program. Keep safe, God bless us all, and God bless our homeland Ghana.
A bit of a correction there. The Honorable Member of Parliament for Swami and the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs did that in place of the Minister for Education. So let's take note of that. Thank you very much. We would want to remind you that the 9th Summer School is heavily sponsored by Clean Africa Community Level Environmental Awareness Network Foundation and Baden-Württemberg. It's also supported by GCB Bank, AECHAs, PVG Ghana Limited, Lapchem Limited, Fonjo Images, Steve Company, Mr. Kofi Fashions. We thank you all for making this very possible. This morning, we have been joined again by some great partners and participants. I would want to acknowledge them, mention their names, and then when we are done, we give them a loud round of applause. From Clean Africa, we have Mr. Duncan Alangia, Mrs. Gatore Sinigirira, and Joel Kelly are both from Mathematics University of Burundi in Bujumbura. Well, so would also acknowledge the presence of Miss Pauline Ashiagbo, Mr. Helmut Steinel, Aurelia Holding AG, Germany, Mr. Roland Koberlein, Mr. Joachim Lindenau, Mr. Alex Meyer, Miss Bridget Kohler, Miss Gerda Hubrich, Miss Barbara Abel, Miss Angelica Plumer, Professor Hans-Jürgen Smith, Dr. Andrew Chilombo, Professor Uchendu Eugene, Professor Priska Niyuhiri, Professor Willie Marcel, Professor Fuchu Wabu, Professor Bruno Lenta. All these are with us this morning. We are grateful from having come from far and near to be part of this great program. Shall we please applaud all of them? It's now time to carry out our various presentations and to present on how can the ambitions of SDGs be translated into action in the university. From the University of Burundi, Please welcome Professor Alois Misago.
Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, Brakeye, that is good morning. I'm honored to start with the first presentation of the 9th summer school. And I thank very much Clean Africa, the Kwame Nkrumah University for Technology, for Science and Technology, for having invited the University of Burundi to participate to this great event. When coming to the Kwame Nkrumah University for Science and Technology, I thought this is not only a university, it is more a city for science and technology. The University of Burundi is a small one with 14,000 students. It's rather a department for your university here. But it is a lovely one. Ladies and gentlemen, my presentation will be short. I'll have to answer 2 questions. The first one, why should universities engage in SDGs? And the second one, how can universities contribute to the SDGs? I have a PowerPoint, but unfortunately I didn't give the key with the presentation. Maybe they will bring one. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development is one of the most ambitious and important global agreements in recent history. The agenda, with its 17 Sustainable Development Goals, is a guide to fight against the world's most pressing challenges, including ending poverty and bringing economic prosperity, social inclusion, peace and good governance to all countries and all people by 2030. Many governments, many countries have a strong interest in the SDGs, and also businesses and organizations in most countries have adopted these goals for sustainable development. The SDGs are the major influencer on the strategies and actions of these stakeholders over the next decade. The SDGs also have strong relevance to universities and the tertiary and academic sectors more broadly. It covers a wide range of complex social, economic, and environmental challenges, and address them will require transformations in how society and economies function and how we interact with our planet. Therefore, education, research, innovation, and leadership are essential in helping society address these challenges. The universities have a critical role to play in the achievement of the SDGs, and no one of the SDGs can be achieved without this sector, without the universities. Engaging with the SDGs, the university will benefit a lot of advantages. Some of them are helping them demonstrate university impact, capture demand for SDG-related education, build new partnerships, access new funding streams, and define a university that is responsible and globally aware. In the SDGs, education and research are explicitly recognized in a number of them, and the universities have a direct role in addressing this. However, the contribution of universities to the SDGs is much broader, as they can support them, the implementation of every one of the SDGs, as well as the implementation of the SDG framework itself. First, why should universities engage in SDGs? The SDGs are a global framework with strong buy-in and adoption among universities, among governments, businesses, civil society, funders, and other universities and the community. Universities can draw a range of benefits from this broad support by engaging with the SDGs. Key benefits would include demonstrating university impact, capturing demand for SDG-related education, building new external and internal partnerships, and accessing new funding streams. The SDGs provide a new and integrated way to communicate and demonstrate to external stakeholders, including government, funders, and the community, how universities contribute to global and local well-being, and therefore their impact and relevance. The SDGs speak to both young and old people as global citizens wanting to make meaningful contribution to society and environment. Additionally, as government and business increasingly embedded the SDGs as a strategic focus, the demand for graduates who understand and can implement the SDG agenda will grow. Early adoption of SDG-related education will future-proof an institution for these changing circumstances. One of the strengths of the SDG agenda is that it provides a common framework for different sectors and organizations to connect and work together on shared interests. This will give universities opportunities to form new collaborations with government, industry, and the community in both research and education. Equally, the framework can help identify common interests across different areas of the university, helping to drive cross-disciplinary partnerships, collaboration, and innovation. SDGs can help accessing new funding streams. Funders, including government agencies, international banks, and philanthropists, are increasingly framing funding calls around the achievement of the SDGs. Universities have to rethink their role in the 21st century and look to both more responsive to societal needs and to become agents of change towards solving global challenges. Given the critical role universities have in ensuring the success of the SDGs, they have a moral imperative to embody support for the SDGs as part of their social missions and core functions. The education and scientific research sectors are explicitly recognized in a number of the SDGs, as said before. However, university contribution is needed much more broadly to achieve all the SDGs. The SDG agenda covers a wide range of interconnected social, economic, and environmental challenges, and the unique functions and expertise of universities are critical for overcoming of all these. Therefore, the SDGs will not be achieved without universities. Some of the key roles the universities have to play are, for example, providing the knowledge and solution to support the implementation of the SDGs, creating current and future SDG implementers, embodying the principles of the SDGs through organizational governance and operations and culture, and at least providing cross-sectoral leadership in implementation. Addressing the challenges of the SDGs will require new knowledge, new ways of doing things, hard choices between competing options, and in some cases, profound transformations. Universities drive technological and societal progress through research, discovery, knowledge creation, and adoption. They attract and nurture talent and creativity and are central players in regional and national innovation systems. These services are critical for helping the global community to understand the challenges, opportunities, and interactions between the SDGs, to develop and implement solutions, to develop and assess policy options and transformation pathways, and monitor progress. The universities, as said before, are very important to create current and future SDG implementers. Universities provide people with professional and personal skills and capabilities. They have access to large concentrations of young and curious people who are passionate, creative, and have a desire for a better world. They also increasingly influence global development through international students and alumni, international campuses, and capacity building activities. Universities need to ensure that they are equipping current and future leaders, decision makers, teachers, innovators, entrepreneurs, and citizens with the knowledge, skills, and motivation that will help them contribute to achieving the SDGs. Universities are complex and diverse institutions. Through their staff, students, campuses, neighborhoods, and supply chains, they have significant social, economic, and environmental footprints. By implementing the principles of the SDGs within their own governance, operations, and culture, research and teaching, universities will directly contribute to the achievement of the SDGs within these extensive spheres. Universities provide also cross-sectoral leadership in implementation of the SDGs. Universities hold a position of neutral and trusted stakeholders within society in many countries, not in every country. As such, they have a capacity and responsibility to guide and lead the local, national, and international response to the SDGs through cross-sectoral dialogues and partnerships. They also have a key role in educating the public and other sectors on the SDGs and in advocating for the importance of the SDGs. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, through their various activities in education, research, and operations, universities already make many important contributions to the achievement of the SDGs. However, for the SDGs to be truly successful at a global scale, universities need to become champions of sustainable development and play a leading role in the implementation of the SDGs. This is a challenging task. Universities are often hindered by external structure factors and internal limitations. If you want to know which place is given to a university in a country, look to the budget allocated to research. Yet, the SDGs provide a framework to work towards structural solutions, as well as accelerate contribution to local, national, and global well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a summary of what we could say about the role of the university. The details could be worked out in the different colleges. And I can't finish without inviting you to Burundi. Maybe the next summer school will take place in Burundi, Akwaba. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Misago. Our next presenter joins us virtually. The topic is interesting and relevant examples of how the SDGs have been used within the area by external holders and by other universities. Joining us, the Vice President of FRAUAS in Frankfurt, Germany. Shall we please virtually, of course, that's how his presentation will be presented on the screens. Let's welcome Professor Martina Claire.
Dear Pro-Vice Chancellor Professor Alice Owusu-Dabu, dear Nananom, dear Professor Rexford Assessio Opong, our direct partner of our cooperation, dear staff and members, dear participants of the SDG Summer School for Experts in Academia 2021. I am very blessed and thankful to welcome you all at the opening of the summer school, and I would like to thank you all from the University of Science and Technology in Kumasi for the opportunity to speak to you. Kind regards from your partner university in the middle of Europe, in the middle of Germany, in the center of Frankfurt. An international and interdisciplinary approach is important for many topics. This approach, however, is particularly important in view of sustainability. The relevance of sustainability is not limited to continents, countries, cities, or individual universities. We are all in the same boat, and this is why the SDG Summer School of Experts in Academic is so important. Thank you all for taking the time, participate, and thank you for your commitment to the issue of sustainability. As universities, we have a special responsibility to set a good example in practicing sustainability across all levels and to apply it for human welfare. The future of all of us will depend on how sustainable we choose to continuing living, working, traveling, to do our research, our teaching, to do everything. Our universities have to take our social responsibility very serious in this point. We have the principles of sustainability like planting a plant in the heart of our students, so that they can act in future sustainably. As researcher, we carry out research projects for the betterment and increasement of society. To research is a key area to achieve the goal of sustainability. Research projects with a clear focus on sustainability serve two key functions. They arise awareness among research and students, and they actively contribute to make society more sustainable. Not only computer science, renewable energy, and so on. By the way, I'm a researcher for renewable energy, solar energy, wind energy. It's very important. but we have to do much more. And these are some areas where we at the Frankfurt University conduct extensive research with a particular focus on sustainability aspects. Europe, we have done great damage to the global climate in the past. Our main objective is to provide young people with an academic education to do that in the future much more better than my generation. Still, that in itself is not enough. As institutions, in their own right, universities and their staff fulfill an important role model. Sustainability has to become highly visible. Our sustainability strategy at our university was adopted in March 2021. I'm very proud to report you that the students are the people who have the driving force for that process. The young generation knows that it is shortly before 12. I would like to give you a short insight into our most important goals of our strategy. First of all, we have to establish an Office of Sustainability at our university to have a perfect exchange to the issues and the important person, the important students, the important professors, and so on. And second, we are founding an interdisciplinary master degree program called European Green Studies. One of the goals that is very difficult to achieve is CO2 neutrality by 2030. Our universities are closely linked and have benefits for many years. From the opportunity to teach together, to search together, to learn together from each other. My colleague, Professor Dr. Hans-Jürgen Spitz, and my colleague Angelika Blömer are with you today to represent the Frankfurt University of Applied Sciences. I'm looking forward to their report and activities that follow between our universities in the future. This week, we have the 5th birthday in our university. That is the reason why I personally cannot with you today. But I hope that we will soon get to know you personally in Frankfurt or Kumasi. And I hope that we fight together against the climate change. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Martina Claire. Though you can't hear me, it's good enough also to applaud your presence and presentation. We have two great activities to look up to. Short reflections from a variety of stakeholders on the opportunities of the SDGs for the university. We have lined up great people who would lead us in this. Afterwards, we'll launch the SDGs exhibition. But for now, and for the next 30 minutes, we shall proceed on a short break to stretch our legs and come back to what I outlined. Thank you very much for being part of this first session. We shall wait for our dignitaries on the days to take the lead. We are not leaving, we are only taking a short break, and then we come back to complete the day's activities. Thank you very much for coming. When our dignitaries leave, our ushers shall help us to file out very nicely and as allowed by the
In
protocols that we've set for the
1958,
program.
the university primary with an attached nursery was established to give primary education to children of members of staff of the university. With the inclusion of the JHS, the basic school was formed to give holistic and quality education for all. The school seeks to provide quality education and to train children academically, morally, and physically to contribute meaningfully to nation building. In 1958, the university primary with an attached nursery was established to give primary education to children of members of staff of the university. With the inclusion of the JHS, the basic school was formed to give holistic and quality education for all. The school seeks to provide quality education and to train children academically, morally, and physically to contribute meaningfully to nation building. In view of this, the school has adopted 5 of the Sustainable Development Goals set by the United Nations. These are SDG 3, 4, 5, 13, and 17. Under SDG 4, KNUST Basic School is careful to give quality education to students. There are 2 and 4 ICT laboratories in the primary and JHS respectively. They are equipped with the state-of-the-art computers and accessories. Learning is done with 1 student to a computer. The language lab is yet another facility which facilitates the teaching and learning of both local and foreign languages. In the teaching and learning of science, students are allowed to have a hands-on experience. Practical and research exercises are methods used to help students understand concepts being taught. The library is another critical area in giving quality education. Reading is encouraged to help children build up vocabulary. The school can boast of several infrastructure, playthings for the kindergarten. This edifice at the JHS houses 4 ICT labs, cafeteria, counseling office, library, and many offices. When schools closed down because of COVID-19, online learning was organized for primary and JHS. Through Zoom meetings and WhatsApp platforms. To buttress concepts taught in class, field trips and excursions are organized for students. Students are taken to sites where resource persons help to concretize concepts. Reward is a strategy used to motivate students to study. The basic school organizes graduation ceremonies for its final year students. Awards are given to deserving students in various fields of discipline. With desire, determination, and discipline as its core values, students strive to win competitions in sports and quizzes. Medals and trophies have been won for the school. Gender equality is taken into consideration in all the endeavors of the school. This is reflected in the prefectorial system. The selection of a head prefect is not skewed to a particular gender. The school also welcomes students of all nationality. It is said that the kitchen is the preserve of the female. Not so in KNUST Basic School. Do not be surprised if a boy cooks a delicious 3-course meal for you. In sports and athletics, girls are not left out. They are encouraged to participate in sports such as soccer, high jump, and many more. Cleanliness is next to godliness, and a healthy mind resides in a healthy body. This is a mantra that the basic school cherishes. In view of this, practicing the COVID-19 protocols did not pose a challenge. Veronica buckets were provided on each block, and students were required to wash their hands before entering the classrooms. Face masks is mandatory. Social distance is practiced in the classrooms. The school has one of the neatest compounds in the country. The lawns and pavements are well kept. Hedges well trimmed. Each section has a sick bay with a nurse in attendance, where first aid is administered to teachers and students. Well-laid beds await students who are sick as they wait for their parents. The school also organizes sports competition amongst the sections, as well as with the other university basic schools annually, dubbed UBASA. The primary school organizes Fruit Day annually, where students are encouraged to eat fruits. Have you heard of the saying, the last tree dies and the last man dies? SDG 3 is on climate action. The basic school answered the clarion call by the President of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, that Ghanaians should plant 5 million trees by the end of June this year. Students from the primary and JHS were taught how to plant the trees, and it was all hands on deck. Primary school pupils were not left out. The shady trees on the compound gives a continuous canopy and creates a serene atmosphere conducive for studying. The school is in partnership with TEK TV.
Hi, you are once again welcome to the junior teleclass on TEK TV KNUST. I am your mathematics teacher for Basic 8. My name is Bright Anoche.
I am Joshua Anosechi, your facilitator.
As usual, I'm Kwesi Oten. You can also call me Peacemaker for short. Your mathematics tutor for Basic 7.
The rich teaching experience of teachers is shared on air for the benefit of other children in the country.
Coherence makes your paragraph easily understandable to the reader. So when they read,
it is 180 degrees. 180 degrees.
It is rare for all students to show keen interest in their basic school. Here at the KNUST Basic School, all students partner with the school in diverse ways. Various year groups collaborate with the school and take up projects to help the school. Recently, the 1981 year group donated 200 tables and chairs to the primary school. The school has succeeded in working with 5 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. It is believed that if the necessary support from all quarters is given, more goals relevant to the course of the school can be achieved. In 1958, the university primary with an attached nursery was established to give primary education to children of members of staff of the university. With the inclusion of the JHS, the basic school was formed to give holistic and quality education for all. The school seeks to provide quality education and to train children academically, morally, and physically to contribute meaningfully to nation building. In view of this, the school has adopted 5 of the Sustainable Development Goals set by the United Nations. These are SDG 3, 4, 5, 13, and 17. Under SDG 4, KNUST Basic School is careful to give quality education to students. There are 2 and 4 ICT laboratories in the primary and JHS respectively. They are equipped with the state-of-the-art computers and accessories. Learning is done with 1 student to a computer. The language lab is yet another facility which facilitates the teaching and learning of both local and foreign languages. In the teaching and learning of science, students are allowed to have a hands-on experience. Practical and research exercises are methods used to help students understand concepts being taught. The library is another critical area in giving quality education. Reading is encouraged to help children build up vocabulary. The school can boast of several infrastructure, playthings for the kindergarten. This edifice at the JHS houses 4 ICT labs, cafeteria, counseling office, library, and many officers. When schools closed down because of COVID-19, online learning was organized for primary and JHS through Zoom meetings and WhatsApp platforms. To buttress concept taught in class, field trips and excursions are organized for students. Students are taken to sites where resource persons help to concretize concepts. Reward is a strategy used to motivate students to study. The basic school organizes graduation ceremonies for its final year students. Awards are given to deserving students in various fields of discipline. With desire, determination, and discipline as its core values, students strive to win competitions in sports and quizzes. Medals and trophies have been won for the school. Gender equality is taken into consideration in all the endeavors of the school. This is reflected in the prefectorial system. The selection of a head prefect is not skewed to a particular gender. The school also welcomes students of all nationality. It is said that the kitchen is the preserve of the female. Not so in KNUST Basic School. Do not be surprised if a boy cooks a delicious 3-course meal for you. In sports and athletics, girls are not left out. They are encouraged to participate in sports such as soccer, high jump, and many more. Cleanliness is next to godliness, and a healthy mind resides in a healthy body. This is a mantra that the basic school cherishes. In view of this, practicing the COVID-19 protocols did not pose a challenge. Veronica buckets were provided on each block, and students were required to wash their hands before entering the classrooms. Face masks is mandatory. Social distance is practiced in the classrooms. The school has one of the neatest compounds in the country. The lawns and pavements are well kept. Hedges well trimmed. Each section has a sick bay with a nurse in attendance, where first aid is administered to teachers and students. Well-laid beds await students who are sick as they wait for their parents. The school also organizes sports competition amongst the sections, as well as with other university basic schools annually, dubbed UBASA. The primary school organizes Fruit Day annually, where students are encouraged to eat fruits. Have you heard of the saying, the last tree dies and the last man dies? SDG 3 is on climate action. The basic school answered the clarion call by the President of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, that Ghanaians should plant 5 million trees by the end of June this year. Students from the primary and JHS were taught how to plant the trees, and it was all hands on deck. Primary school pupils were not left out. The shady trees on the compound gives a continuous canopy and creates a serene atmosphere conducive for studying. The school is in partnership with TEK TV.
Hi, you are once again welcome to the junior teleclass on TEK TV, KNUST. I am your mathematics teacher for Basic 8. My name is Bright Anoche.
I am Joshua Anosechi, your facilitator.
As usual, I'm Kwesi Oten. You can also call me Peacemaker for short. Your mathematics tutor for Basic 7.
The rich teaching experience of teachers is shared on air for the benefit of other children in the country.
Coherence makes your paragraph easily understandable to the reader. So when they read,
it is 180 degrees. 180 degrees.
It is rare for all students to show keen interest in their basic school. Here at the KNUST Basic School, all students partner with the school in diverse ways. Various year groups collaborate with the school and take up projects to help the school. Recently, the 1981 year group donated 200 tables and chairs to the primary school. The school has succeeded in working with 5 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. It is believed that if the necessary support from all quarters is given, more goals relevant to the course of the school can be achieved. In 1958, the university primary with an attached nursery was established to give primary education to children of members of staff of the university. With the inclusion of the JHS, the basic school was formed to give holistic and quality education for all. The school seeks to provide quality education and to train children academically, morally, and physically to contribute meaningfully to nation building. In view of this, the school has adopted 5 of the Sustainable Development Goals set by the United Nations. These are SDG 3, 4, 5, 13, and 17. Under SDG 4, KNUST Basic School is careful to give quality education to students. There are 2 and 4 ICT laboratories in the primary and JHS respectively. They are equipped with the state's state-of-the-art computers and accessories. Learning is done with one student to a computer. The Language Lab is yet another facility which facilitates the teaching and learning of both local and foreign languages. In the teaching and learning of science, students are allowed to have a hands-on experience. Practical and research exercises are methods used to help students understand concepts being taught. The library is another critical area in giving quality education. Reading is encouraged to help children build up vocabulary. The school can boast of several infrastructure, playthings for the kindergarten. This edifice at the JHS houses 4 ICT labs, cafeteria, counseling office, library, and many offices. When schools closed down because of COVID-19, online learning was organized for primary and JHS through Zoom meetings and WhatsApp platforms. To buttress concept taught in class, field trips and excursions are organized for students. Students are taken to sites where resource persons help to concretize concepts. Reward is a strategy used to motivate students to study. The basic school organizes graduation ceremonies for its final year students. Awards are given to deserving students in various fields of discipline. With desire, determination, and discipline as its core values, students strive to win competitions in sports and quizzes. Medals and trophies have been won for the school. Gender equality is taken into consideration in all the endeavors of the school. This is reflected in the prefectorial system. The selection of a head prefect is not skewed to a particular gender. The school also welcomes students of all nationality. It is said that the kitchen is the preserve of the female. Not so in KNUST Basic School. Do not be surprised if a boy cooks a delicious 3-course meal for you. In sports and athletics, girls are not left out. They are encouraged to participate in sports such as soccer, high jump, and many more. Cleanliness is next to godliness, and a healthy mind resides in a healthy body. This is a mantra that the basic school cherishes. In view of this, practicing the COVID-19 protocols did not pose a challenge. Veronica buckets were provided on each block, and students were required to wash their hands before entering the classrooms. Face masks is mandatory. social distance is practiced in the classrooms. The school has one of the neatest compounds in the country. The lawns and pavements are well kept. Hedges well trimmed. Each section has a sick bay with a nurse in attendance, where first aid is administered to teachers and students. Well-laid beds await students who are sick as they wait for their parents. The school also organizes sports competition amongst the sections, as well as with other university basic schools annually, dubbed UBASA. The primary school organizes Fruit Day annually, where students are encouraged to eat fruits. Have you heard of the saying, the last tree dies and the last man dies? SDG 3 is on climate action. The basic school answered the clarion call by the President of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, that Ghanaians should plant 5 million trees by the end of June this year. Students from the primary and JHS were taught how to plant the trees, and it was all hands on deck. Primary school pupils were not left out. The shady trees on the compound gives a continuous canopy and creates a serene atmosphere conducive for studying. The school is in partnership with TEK TV.
Hi, you are once again welcome to the junior teleclass on TEK TV, KNUST. I am your mathematics teacher for Basic 8. My name is Bright Anoche.
I am Joshua Anosechi, your facilitator.
As usual, I'm Kwesi Oten. You can also call me Peacemaker for short. Your mathematics tutor for Basic 7.
The rich teaching experience of teachers is shared on air for the benefit of other children in the country.
Coherence makes your paragraph easily understandable to the reader. So when the reader...
It is 180 degrees. 180 degrees.
It is rare for all students to show keen interest in their basic school. Here at the KNUST Basic School, all students partner with the school in diverse ways. Various year groups collaborate with the school and take up projects to help the school. Recently, the 1981 year group donated 200 tables and chairs to the primary school. The school has succeeded in working with 5 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. It is believed that if the necessary support from all quarters is given, more goals relevant to the course of the school can be achieved. In 1958, the university primary with an attached nursery was established to give primary education to children of members of staff of the university. With the inclusion of the JHS, the basic school was formed to give holistic and quality education for all. The school seeks to provide quality education and to train children academically, morally, and physically to contribute meaningfully to nation building. In view of this, the school has adopted 5 of the Sustainable Development Goals set by the United Nations. These are SDG 3, 4, 5, 13, and 17. Under SDG 4, KNUST Basic School is careful to give quality education to students. There are 2 and 4 ICT laboratories in the primary and JHS respectively. They are equipped with the state-of-the-art computers and accessories. Learning is done with 1 student to a computer. The language lab is yet another facility which facilitates the teaching and learning of both local and foreign languages. In the teaching and learning of science, students are allowed to have a hands-on experience. Practical and research exercises are methods used to help students understand concepts being taught. The library is another critical area in giving quality education. Reading is encouraged to help children build up vocabulary. The school can boast of several infrastructure, playthings for the kindergarten. This edifice at the JHS houses 4 ICT labs, cafeteria, counseling office, library, and many offices. When schools closed down because of COVID-19, online learning was organized for primary and JHS. Through Zoom meetings and WhatsApp platforms. To buttress concept taught in class, field trips and excursions are organized for students. Students are taken to sites where resource persons help to concretize concepts. Reward is a strategy used to motivate students to study. The basic school organizes graduation ceremonies for its final year students. Awards are given to deserving students in various fields of discipline. With desire, determination, and discipline as its core values, students strive to win competitions in sports and quizzes. Medals and trophies have been won for the school. Gender equality is taken into consideration in all the endeavors of the school. This is reflected in the prefectorial system. The selection of a head prefect is not skewed to a particular gender. The school also welcomes students of all nationality. It is said that the kitchen is the preserve of the female. Not so in KNUST Basic School. Do not be surprised if a boy cooks a delicious 3-course meal for you. sports and athletics, girls are not left out. They are encouraged to participate in sports such as soccer, high jump, and many more. Cleanliness is next to godliness, and a healthy mind resides in a healthy body. This is a mantra that the basic school cherishes. In view of this, practicing the COVID-19 protocols did not pose a challenge. Veronica buckets were provided on each block, and students were required to wash their hands before entering the classrooms. Face masks is mandatory. Social distance is practiced in the classrooms. The school has one of the neatest compounds in the country. The lawns and pavements are well kept. Hedges well trimmed. Each section has a sick bay with a nurse in attendance, where first aid is administered to teachers and students. Well-laid beds await students who are sick as they wait for their parents. The school also organizes sports competition amongst the sections, as well as with other university basic schools annually, dubbed UBASA. The primary school organizes Fruit Day annually, where students are encouraged to eat fruits. Have you heard of the saying, the last tree dies and the last man dies? SDG 3 is on climate action. The basic school answered the clarion call by the President of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, that Ghanaians should plant 5 million trees by the end of June this year. Students from the primary and JHS were taught how to plant the trees, and it was all hands on deck. Primary school pupils were not left out. The shady trees on the compound gives a continuous canopy and creates a serene atmosphere conducive for studying. The school is in partnership with TEK TV.
Hi, you are once again welcome to the junior teleclass on TEK TV, KNUST. I am your mathematics teacher for Basic 8. My name is Bright Anoche.
I am Joshua Anosechi, your facilitator.
As usual, I'm Kwesi Oten. You can also call me Peacemaker for short. Your mathematics tutor for Basic 7.
The rich teaching experience of teachers is shared on air for the benefit of other children in the country.
Coherence makes your paragraph easily understandable to the reader. So when the reader...
It is 180 degrees. 180 degrees.
It is rare for all students to show keen interest in their basic school. Here at the KNUST Basic School, all students partner with the school in diverse ways. Various year groups collaborate with the school and take up projects to help the school. Recently, the 1981 year group donated 200 tables and chairs to the primary school. The school has succeeded in working with 5 of the United Nations Sustainable Development
and start, would go around and each person would do a very brief introduction. Can we get one usher here, please, to help us with the hand sanitizer and the use of the microphones? Thank you. So we'll go around with very brief introductions, name and which university belongs to.
Once again, good morning everybody. I'm Aloysius Sandro from the University of Burundi, and I think the SDGs are very important for help developing our countries for a sustainable development. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Ellis Osudawa, Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Science and Technology, standing in and for all the Vice Chancellor who has had to take a rather French leave. She has to represent the university as an equally important function for which reason she's had to leave. I thank you for the opportunity. Welcome to our friends.
My name is I'm also here as a representative of all vice chancellors who are representing the school. He would like to be here. I just said that immediately for me, I'm architect, professor, and also head of the Department of Architecture at the University of Illinois, and also a part of the committee that developed our sustainability strategy just last year. So I contribute and I'm looking forward to discuss.
All right. Thanks, Professor Schmidt. Going forward, if you could speak up a bit so that those on the back can hear you. Okay.
Perhaps it's the microphone, I don't know. It's better. Super, thank you. Matilda Bramaful, I'm the Managing Director for Clean Africa AFAO. Clean doesn't stand for cleaning, but it stands for community SDG Summer School. Thank you.
My name is William Bandan. I'm an environmental and civil scientist. Hello. My name is William Bandan. I'm a material and environmental scientist. I run Intelligence Data International. We provide sustainability solutions to organizations, governments, and companies. I'm happy to be here with you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you all very much. And so we are going to be discussing, we want, there's a variety of stakeholders up here, and would like to, each one of them to reflect on how, or what the opportunities of the SDGs are for the universities, what opportunities of SDGs are for universities. And we'd like to start off with Frankfurt University of Applied Sciences, who have recently tried to introduce that into the university. And so we'd like Professor Schwick to give us a short reflection of how you have been able to implement the SDGs in Frankfurt University of Applied Sciences. In your research, in your teaching, in engagement with the community, what are some of the things that you have been able to do?
Yeah, thank you. Perhaps this is better now. What was the process to implement the SDGs as a sustainability concept to our university? It started just a bit more than 1 year ago when Professor Claire invited all of the groups of our university, students, staff, collaborators as well, and also us as teachers, to sit together and first to learn. That was also interesting for me. What we learned is from a professional who is supporting companies, that he said, okay, very first and very important thing is to find out and to understand what is your core process. What is your core process? And he gave us an example. Example was a bank. If a bank wants to become sustainability, it's nice if they find a strategy to not print maybe specific paper, but it's not. Research, teaching. And so, with the core you have the biggest impact. And then we had to discuss, okay, how do we have the biggest impact in our research and in our teaching to make this sustainable? And around that core we have a shell. This is the supporting structure. And that is not printing email.
Show it here in our sustainability report, the very first one, unfortunately only in German. You see the sustainability goal 4, quality education. So this is the core of our strategy. And every other sustainability goal is related to that. And this was a very interesting process. We have been groups, 3 groups, discussing various topics, and out of that came a strategy which is only 3 pages, but very condensed, and it's showing what we really have to do and to have the biggest impact of sustainability as university into the society.
Okay, that's interesting. We know that at the turn of the century, here in Ghana, there was a big myth about a huge stone that was going to destroy the world and everything. People went to church a lot that the first night. It didn't happen. But around the time, world leaders got together and came up with the MDGs, 8 anti-poverty targets. The criticism of that has been that it seemed to have focused only more on the south, global south, and not the global north. So 15 years later, not much had been done, and the SDGs came into being. Before I go to Frida Matilda Marful, I'd like to ask to go to Dr. Bannerman. He's the CEO and founder of Intelligence Nature International. That coming from the outside, coming from industry, and being a material and environmental scientist, what do you think are some of the ways that universities can be able to achieve the SDGs in the way we do our things, in our teaching, in our research, and in our public engagement?
Okay, thank you. I think the universities have already been identified in the SDGs. SDG 4, I think 4.3, it's mainly about higher education. So there are indicators there for universities to report on. And from a global point of view, as a university, a holistic point of view, you have, first of all, your own environmental footprint. How many trucks do you have around that are moving idle and emitting? How many air conditions are on that are not used? How many lights are on in the night till morning because a student studied and did not put it off or something? Are you running generators? And that's the energy bit from your own environmental footprint. The students that are in the university are also your stakeholders, key stakeholders. Of course, the responsibilities of the university. The social pillar of sustainable development includes safety. Industry, for a long time, had considered safety as an operational element or indicator. But in the SDGs, even though it is not stated, the social pillar takes care of safety. Safety of people, including the students. The buildings they sleep in, the environments they are in, the toilets they go to, the water they drink, the food they eat around. The petty traders who come for food and serve to the students, are we tracking where they are cooking those foods? If there is an epidemic within the university, food poisoning, that could be catastrophic. Sometimes when you have not experienced incidents, sustainability incidents, you take these matters for granted. When they happen, they are on the news. And when they are on the news, the publicity is often very negative. And with the social media, you wouldn't even want some of these things to happen. With sustainability at the global level, at the government level, it's a little bit different from at the organizational level. At the global level, it's governance policy, and governments have to reinforce. Primarily and almost immediately, governments are to report on the indicators. But these indicators, these data have to come from organizations, have to come from people. So if, for instance, government wants to know what is the ratio of female students to male students in the university, or what's the ratio of female to male students in the last recruitment, they will have to rely on the universities. Of course, maybe the Ministry of Education would have picked those data. So these data must come up. So the university has the responsibility of accounting for its own footprint, and then also taking care of the footprints based on the students environmental, social, as I've mentioned. And then, of course, your compliance, if you have major reporting or you have a funding agency, you need to look into the compliance. Usually, organizations will have what we call a compliance register. And in there, you have all the high-level things that can keep the Vice-Chancellor awake in the night. So these things are there. We know that we have to maybe every month send a particular report here and then. So all these things are there. Perhaps the major thing apart from these, the major area that the university is really required to support the SDGs is in data quality and data management. If you read all the reports in the past few years, 2020, 2021, there are significant data gaps in the reporting from countries. Some countries don't have it at all. For some countries, the structures are there. It is just even knowing who has to send that data to a particular agency in government. So, and some of the data are not good enough, so they cannot actually be passed on even to the international community to grade us or score the country. So I think the university has a very, very important role to play in creating data banks and ensuring that some of these data are actually of high quality. The student projects and the research of senior members and all that already have a lot of information, which other sectors in the economy don't even know they exist. So I think the university has to project itself. In summary, first, taking care of its own footprint, making sure that you have a framework in place that puts all these systems in place. And then secondly, making impact on the global scene, at the national level on the global scene, by really, really contributing to data, quality-wise, volume-wise. I will sum up, just give you a very quick, in terms of framework for the university, for instance, the first thing you want to do is a commitment from the senior member, the vice-chancellor. A simple policy, one-page policy says that we will take care of energy, we'll take care of water, we'll take care of safety of students, we'll take care of this. And then the vice-chancellor signs it. After that, you have a committee, a working group, that will actually identify some of the key issues. So the key issues that are of concern to you might be petty traders giving students food, might be electricity consumption, whatever. And then from there, you set your targets, and then the targets, you may say 5 years, 3 years, whatever. And then as you mature in it, you'll actually be reporting. So at the end of the year, you will be reporting some of these indicators yourself. And at the same time, including what you are doing to support the global efforts in terms of data management.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, sure, you can go ahead and clap. So very interesting points there. Data, very, very important. That's why we are very happy to collaborate with Clean Africa to have this SDG summer school. I think it's a good starting point. So that's a good point to bring in Mrs. Frida Matilda Marfol about the role that Clean Africa can play in helping the universities achieve these SDGs, particularly regarding the monitoring and evaluation of this summer school. The outcomes that's going to come, we want to make sure that we know, for example, this offers a good opportunity. All departments, all colleges, and all units are exhibiting SDG-related stuff. And so we'd like to find out from Clean Africa the role that you can play in bringing this on board.
The role of Clean Africa in supporting you achieve the results.
Yes.
Well, we will work with you, and indeed, thank you for the question. We have put up 3 prizes. That is, For the winning colleges, there are 3 prizes. In 1 year, we will be coming back to evaluate together. You will get to know a catalog of our requirements for winning. So what you're going to achieve within the next 3 days is going to be your actions. And so you will follow them up step by step. And that is sustainability. So within 1 year, you will know whether you're up to what you have come up with. See, in this summer school, we are having decentralized discussions. Reason being, each and every one of us must contribute. It should not be other people's opinion. I love what you say. The Vice Chancellor should come up with certain points. But for me, that is the top down. I believe more in the bottom up, because what comes from the bottom comes from us. And when it comes from me, then I commit to it. And when I commit to it, then I can be measured against what I've committed to. And when I measure myself, then I'll be able to work towards achieving that which I've committed myself to, not what has been imposed on me. So when we go in our colleges, in our departments, everybody according to his court, we will come up with ideas. What can we do? We as College of Art, we as College of Science, we as registrars, we as Finance and Procurement Department, we as security. What does security has to do with gender? What does security has to do with SDGs? Do we have security women in KNUST? I don't know. But perhaps we think that is a man's issue, not women's issue. I don't know. But we have to come up with things bottom up from our departments. Perhaps the security department will win. Perhaps the cleaning department will win. Do we separate the garbage in KNUST? Bio-waste, plastic waste, paper. Paper is a product. It can be reused, it can be recycled. And then we can have toilet tissue. We have a printing department. What do they do with their waste paper? I don't know. So when we go in our respective departments, we'll come up with ideas, and then the sustainability of it is us working step by step. And in 12 months, in 1 year, Clean Africa will come back with 3 prizes: bronze, silver, and gold for the winning. And if the cleaning department works hard to make sure that KNUST is not only clean, but the garbage is separated, for example, just one of those, perhaps they win. Anybody is eligible. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I'm sure you are not looking out for the prize before we go ahead to do it. Sustainability concerns you, and it concerns me. So would like to hear from Professor Alois Misago. Would like to find out his perspective also from Burundi, and his personal perspective about how universities can actually achieve these SDGs. I always say that if I decided suddenly to ride a bicycle to school every day, I'm sure the students might want to contribute something and say, man, Dr. Dia is really going through a hard time because he's coming to work on a bicycle, or I'm walking to the administration all the time. But actually, that is a healthy lifestyle, that is clean energy, and all of that. So from your point of view, what are some of the things that can be done by universities in order to achieve the SDGs?
Thank you. I think the universities could help a lot to achieve the SDGs. You know, the universities have the mission to education, research, and service to the community. And as I said before, the universities are the ones who have to ensure that there are people who are competent to make SDGs be implemented. So the quality education is very important to ensure that we have a sustainable development and sustainable future for future generations. And I may point out, sorry, the voice doesn't come out with this one. So I appreciate very much the approach of Clean Africa to make people meet from different countries and different universities. We have to strengthen the ties, the partnership between the North and the South, but also sometimes when we think about partnership, we go north. We have also to strengthen the ties between universities in the South. That is a step which I appreciate very much. We can learn a lot from each other and go further, because the achievement of the SDGs is not the same in every country in Africa. So we can learn from those who are in front. For example, Ghana, I think you are a step further than Burundi, for example. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Partnerships, very, very important to have these partnerships between the global South and the global North as well. So we'll now come home to our own Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Ellis. There's been a number of issues that have been raised in here, and it will amaze you. I would like to entreat each one of us here to take time to go to the exhibitions that will be launched right at the foyer and also in all the various colleges and units. The university does amazing research, also focused on the SDGs. But because we have not consciously made the attempt to document all of that and send that out, it seems like there's not much, but this affords us a good opportunity. One of the indicators for US green building rating system called LEED, you get a point if you wash your stuff and you use the washing machine, but you don't use the washer dryer, then you get extra points. And I say, come to Unity Hall. They are drying it on the floor. So really, it's a no-brainer here. So from a perspective of KNUST, what have we done so far? And moving forward, what can we do in order to help achieve the SDGs? Prof.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Drea, and once again, grateful for the opportunity. I would like to start from the last point that you touched on, and that is on partnerships. And I think from the point of view of KNUST, it will interest the audience to know that a little over 64% of the research that we do in this institution is with partner institutions from the Global South and the North. We also have a lot of work that we do with support from industry and also from the government. So it's instructive to know that when it comes to partnerships, we have built a lot of networks, a lot of linkages, a lot of collaborative memorandum of understanding that we do have. At the last count, I think this university had actively over 300 memorandum of understanding with partner institutions from both the North and the South. That for us is quite a very important and pivotal way of doing things, because as one speaker mentioned earlier, it is very difficult to get support for research funding to be able to implement research that we do here, and therefore collaborative research is one of the ways to go. Directly, as an institution, SDG 4, as all of us have indicated, quality education is something that we look at. And as KNUST, we have a benchmark of ensuring, and of course a policy of ensuring that quality permeates all that we do. So it's not just in the numbers, which from the World Bank report, Sub-Saharan Africa is leading in terms of access to tertiary education. But as all of you know, access is not necessarily translated into quality. But this institution has a benchmark of ensuring that in all that we do, quality permeates. Indeed, in all the 7 thematic areas of the current strategic plan, as well as the 8 key thematic areas of the Vision 2020-24 of the Vice Chancellor, which is collectively owned by us, quality as a standard of everything that we do is seen throughout all that we do. What that means is that in terms of curriculum development, in terms of content, in terms of ensuring that we are in good standing with the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission and all the affiliates, institutions to this great institution, KNUST, are also being benchmarked. So what they do is a reflection of what the mother institution does. One of our core values as KNUST is to ensure that there's inclusiveness and diversity. And that is something that we're looking at and take very, very seriously. So if you ask what we're doing, there is no discrimination, neither do we try to put, as it were, hurdles in the ways of people. And I'm referring to, with your kind permission, ensuring that there's even access to buildings that ensure that there's disability friendliness. We make sure that increasingly the women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, for example, in the last recruitment that we had, I was actually amazed looking at a certain report this morning that in terms of our female student population, in the last exercise that was carried out, we did something in the range of over 143 percentage points in terms of recruitment. We are inching there. We are at the moment somewhere around 39% female to male population, and we're ensuring that when it comes to SDG 5, we are inching close to what we believe would be gender equality. In terms of the other things that we do, you're referring to, for example, entrepreneurships, which will drive economic growth and also ensure that there is no poverty and zero hunger. We believe that in the area of creating business opportunities, in the last couple of months, we have set up what we call the KNUST Enterprise Development Board. And what this is supposed to do is to ensure that when somebody comes with an incubator, a business idea, and this has been mentioned several times in the Vice Chancellor's Vision 2020-2024, there's, for example, an opportunity to have a one department, one startup. And the whole idea is to set aside some money to support startups, to grow business incubators throughout the whole value chain, of ensuring that if somebody comes up with some ideas of entrepreneurial development, we're able to support such persons because we believe that it is through entrepreneurships that this economy will see that needed growth. And of course, when it comes to the environment, you can see that KNUST is, if you like, forever green. We participated in the recent planting, not for food and jobs, but planting trees and ensuring that, you know, we go green as a country. And this was led by the Vice Chancellor, who planted a tree, and all of management also did the same. And we're protective of our environment. We're ensuring that, you know, it's not just green, but we don't allow all these pollution that we see all over. So these are the very little ways in which KNUST is contributing to sustainability. But beyond all of this, for me, is the human capital. It is important that self-efficacy is replicated in a sustainable manner. It is important that much as we pay attention to the environment, we pay attention to quality education, and so on, that we emphasize on human capital as a social capital investment that ensures the perpetuity and self-efficacy of the individual. As far as I'm concerned, we can be sustainable and not self-destructive if we're able to look at the indicators of human development and perpetuate that, so that we can have the needed self-efficacy to incorporate in every aspect of society, so that we can impact our societies and ensure that we are not just seen as people with knowledge, but out of touch with society. That is actually my goal and my vision for this great university. The Vice Chancellor would want us to hear this. I thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Fantastic ideas in the, for the Sustainable Development Goals or sustainability concept, the three pillars that underpin it are the social, environmental, and the economic. When you look into literature, overwhelmingly, a lot of the research is focused on the environmental side. So Vice Chancellor highlights the need for the social side as well, the human capital development. So we'll take the final words, probably under a minute from each of them, and we can start from Dr. Bannerman. Your final words on what we should do the way forward. Thank you.
Can you please repeat? I didn't hear you.
Your final words on what universities to do have to do the way forward.
Oh, okay. So
in a minute.
Yes. What I want to say is that sustainability can be a very exciting topic, and sometimes even emotional. So, but it costs money to implement the Sustainable Development Goals. And it can also be complex because the goals are interlinked. So you can just compare this or imagine being in a house, in a home, and trying to even segregate your waste and getting everybody in the house to do the same. It might take you about 6 months or even a year or more to make this a habit. So it's a long road to practice sustainability. We are already doing a lot. We've heard it. The university is already doing a lot. If somebody comes now and say, report on what you are doing, it might take you another 6, 7 months or even a year to look for where the information is, to link them together and to report. I'm saying this because we know from practice that it is important to use a system, a management system, to harness all these things together. And it is very simple. It is just a plan, do, check, review. You plan again, you do, and then the cycle goes on. So I just want to encourage the university to think about us. You know, you keep on with the programs, think about blanketing everything under a common canopy, a framework, so that you don't dissipate too much money and energy, and more importantly, so that you don't lose interest in going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your final words, please. Mrs. Frida Matilda Maffel, what should be the way forward?
Thank you, sir. Well, I can only say that there are only 2 universities in Africa so far, one in South Africa and the other in Egypt, who are trying to adopt the whole institutional approach of the SDGs. So what we are doing today is so unique. And believe me, tomorrow KNUST is going to be on the world map, because even the developed countries are struggling to adopt this whole institutional approach. We have some departments who are trying, and the others say, like you said, it's too expensive for us. It's time consuming. And so for me, I would say that much as it is the whole university, I should believe that everybody should take this personal and say, my actions, what can I do? Just me, what can I do? And this, the primary school kids can do, the secondary school kids can do, the university students can do, the lecturers can do, the secretaries can do, the security men can do, the registrars can do, the vice chancellor can do. But everybody in his capacity, me first. What can I do? Each action counts. So for us to achieve this whole institutional approach, we need you, everybody should say me. And when we have that me together, we will achieve it. To me, personally, the most important SDG is leaving no one behind. Once we have that, we have the inclusiveness, we have the adapting every corner that you have mentioned today. So that way, we will get it whole institutional and we will be complete. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Schmidt. Thank you very much. In a minute, what do you think should be the way forward, especially with your experiences of implementing the SDG in Frankfurt University of Applied Sciences?
Yeah, final words. I was thinking about what are we doing here. You call this event a summer school. When do you go to school? Most of us are in the university, we are teachers and lecturers. Now we have to change our roles. We go to school to learn again. And we have to learn. It's an emergency case we already face. Sustainable is not a nice add-on. It's about survival. And we really have to take this very, very careful. And we have to learn from each other. That's so important that we can face that challenge. And it was Buckminster Fuller. I don't know if anybody knows this professor. He stated in the 1980s a very interesting statement. And he said, humanity is in its final exam. So let's take this school as to prepare this final exam. And we can only do this together. From the north, from the south, from different gender, all the diversity is needed. Otherwise, we will fail. And it's really in danger we fail. So we have to take this really, really serious. And we are glad to hear and we try to learn together.
Thank you very much. We'll come to Professor Alois, and then we'll finish up with Pro Vice Chancellor. Your final words, please, Professor Alois.
Nobody will be left behind. That is one of the principles of the SDGs. And when I hear this word, I think at the inequalities which are produced by our way of development. And to meet this challenge, we have to work together. Within the universities, we have to promote interdisciplinary research and to promote also network between different universities. In this way, we will go further if we go together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll take the final word from the Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Ellis.
Thank you. Let me start by saying that there's a saying for those of us in biomedical science that if Robert Koch had read Gregor Mendel, our world of science would have been a better place. The idea here being that it is easy to see the SDGs and treat them as if they are in silos. So SDG 1, and then you look at the you look at the targets, and so on and so forth. My word has been said by a couple of the speakers. We need to see these SDGs as linking one another, one feeding the other, making sure that when we plan with an integrative, coordinative approach to handling these SDGs. And from certainly the point of view of management, we are looking at a holistic, sustainable management. And for all of us in academia, we're looking at a holistic academic approach to dealing with the SDGs. And although we're at 70 as an institution, KNUST, it is not late at all to brand what we do on the basis of the Sustainable Development Goals. And my final word is that the SDG 16 is critical if we're to look at justice and peace, and certainly to build stronger institutions. Those of us in Africa, we know how it is that things revolve around individuals. We need to ensure that we build systems, and above all, ensure that there's justice for all, to make sure that we don't derail the progress and achievements that we make during our lifetime of the SDGs. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Osodabo. So we've learned today that there's quite a lot going on in the various colleges and units concerning the SDGs. However, there's still a lot more to go, and there's a lot more that we can do. In terms of the way forward, we have heard about the importance of data on sustainability and how that can project what we do out there. It's also important to have the partnerships for sustainability. And then also, we need to build the knowledge base of all categories of staff throughout the university so that they are in a better place to do that, and also have the support, both human and financial, to go about that. There's also the thoughts about individual commitment, what each person can do in order to help achieve this. Because once we do that, then we should be looking towards leaving no one behind. And finally, to do this, it involves an integrated approach to executing the SDGs. On this, at this juncture, I'd like us all to give a round of applause for our panelists. They have done so well. A round of applause. A sustainable clap. That's what we are talking about. Thank you very much. We'll hand over back to James, the moderators, and we'll take over from there. Probably Basic School can give us a short musical interlude while we get on. Thank you so much to our panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Basic School. And this is to inform all of us here that the Home Economics Department of the Basic School have for us SDG cake. So it is going to be one of the things at the lunch. So we are going to ask our dignitaries to lead us as we go out and then have the luncheon of the SDGs. Then we have the exhibitions. After here, each of us would have to go to our various colleges, and then we continue with the exhibition, and then lunch will be served there. For the registrars, we are meeting at the Gardner Conference Room. So we now ask our dignitaries, Provisy, you lead, and then we go to have the lunch, and then exhibition follows. Shall we all rise as they take their lead? Once they are out, we also follow. The SDG cake by the Home Economics Department, Basic School, we are grateful.
Please take note, we shall take photographs right outside. There shall be a picture-taking session outside. So management and various stakeholders will take pictures in turns. KNUST Management, Clean Africa, and Baden-Württemberg. KNUST Management invited guests, Summer School Planning Committee, College Unit Subcommittees. We'll take turns to take photographs.